Well, as business becomes increasingly reliant on technology, companies are finding that their portfolio of digital operations continues to grow. Oklahoma is presently home to over 70 data centers servicing the IT storage needs of a wide range of industries.
Oklahoma has mastered the digital universe. Bits are our building blocks. Infrastructure is our foundation. We're architects of information with the expertise to create it, house it, protect it, and share it. We're the leaders of the digital era. We keep information flowing in the global economy. We are the modern moguls of the new commerce. Oklahoma is plugged in.
Plugged in and ready to go. Joining me now is the Deputy Director of the Department of Commerce and Head of the Office of Economic and Workforce Policy, Deidre Myers. Well, frankly, Deidre, I was surprised by the number of data centers we have in the state.
I think a lot of people are because they're not front and center. However, Oklahoma is very competitive when it comes to data storage and management and security because, one, our electrical rates, our general energy rates are much, much lower. We have land use that is available. And also, we have a very strong workforce for data management, and that is cybersecurity and other kinds of information systems. In fact, the University of Tulsa is considered one of the top programs in cybersecurity in the nation.
And this cuts across all industries.
It absolutely does. People don't understand how important information is. For example, in agriculture, we now have farm implements that read the kind of data such as moisture in the soil and other kinds of information. It goes up into a cloud server and then it comes back around to tell the farmer what kind of nutrients he needs to put on his field. But it also tells companies what is needed in the current marketplace. And so those are the kinds of information management services that Oklahoma excels at.
Well, moving from computer farms to the kind of farms that actually grow crops, Oklahoma's agricultural roots go deep and look to grow even more. The 21st century has been called the biocentury, with modern ag bioscience representing perhaps the most promising area for advancement.
We are cultivating the future, applying science to improve on nature's gifts. We're revolutionizing agriculture and bioscience, planting the seeds for a better tomorrow. We are agri-scientists advancing tomorrow's harvests with drought and disease-resistant crops, producing larger yields to feed and fuel the world. We're researchers developing breakthroughs to diagnose, treat, cure, and eradicate disease. Oklahoma is the fertile ground of bio-innovation.
Well, what we're seeing here in Oklahoma is actually part of a global trend as we are seeing more and more people across this planet.
Absolutely. As our population grows and developing countries increase their middle class, people are moving from an agricultural occupation or industry into more urban manufacturing industries. And this means that we in Oklahoma are at the forefront of providing the food items that the world needs. And that's just not in terms of our major grains and other kinds of commodities, but are they drought resistant? Do they need less chemicals? More production in terms of food or production per acreage. So it's those kinds of research, innovation, development where Oklahoma is leading not only the nation but the world.
Yeah, and in addition to the production that's been here for decades and decades, there's also some just great research going on down at the Noble Foundation.
Absolutely. People don't know about the Noble Foundation and their kind of reputation in the world agricultural market. But also we have our universities, and not just the power universities, OSU, OU, but also our regional universities like Panhandle State University and other kinds of regional and community colleges where we have had such an agriculture focus, but now we are looking at how that translates to 21st century research, innovation, productivity.
Well, certainly a heritage industry that just continues to evolve. Well, here are some abbreviations that you may not know, but you need to. MRO, which stands for Maintenance, Repair, and Overhaul, and UAV, that's short for Unmanned Aerial Vehicle. A couple of three-letter abbreviations that have a big impact on our economy.
We're reaching new heights, defiers of gravity, taking to the skies and beyond. Oklahoma is a worldwide leader in aerospace, unmanned aerial systems, and defense. A state united, we're developing new technologies. We're perfecting manned and unmanned flight. We're the forerunners in aerospace education with the nation's first UAS-focused degree program. We have the manpower and resources for defense with America's largest air logistics depot. We're providing maintenance, repair, and overhaul with the largest maintenance and engineering center on Earth. Oklahoma is soaring.
So Oklahoma has a long history of working in aerospace and defense.
Absolutely, and it's a very significant economic impact to Oklahoma's economy. We have 5 military installations, but also a lot of people don't understand how many Oklahoma businesses support the aerospace and defense ecosystem or economic system. Many Oklahoma companies, mid and small companies, do the manufacturing of the parts that then go into the maintenance, repair, and overhaul. So our manufacturing base is very strong when it comes to aerospace parts, engine parts, and installation activities. It also is a very big promise for veterans coming back in terms of employment opportunities. We know that veterans have amazing skills that they learned while they were in service. The servicemen and women, the technical skills that they have by serving our country are pretty impressive. And we also know that their soft skills, their work ethic is second to none. And so Oklahoma is actually ranked, and particularly Oklahoma City is ranked the #1 place for returning veterans for employment opportunities by the veterans groups.
And not to mention these are high skill but also high wage jobs.
Absolutely.
All right, Deidre. Well, Oklahoma energy producers are leading a national energy revolution thanks in great part to innovation. New technology and drilling techniques spearheaded by Oklahoma producers are forever altering our national energy landscape.
We are an energy giant, powering the world with industry-changing innovations. Home to some of the nation's leading energy producers, we have revolutionized the oil and gas industry and developed new techniques to extract resources once thought to be inaccessible. With one of the nation's largest energy reserves, we're increasing North American production and jobs, and decreasing our dependence on foreign energy. Oklahoma is more than a booming oil and gas industry. We're sweeping the nation as one of the top unconventional energy producers. Oklahoma is a state full of energy.
Well, when it comes to Oklahoma's economy, energy continues to play a major role.
Absolutely. We're an energy state. And it's interesting because just recently the Atlantic Monthly had an article that talked about the growth of high-wage jobs in the U.S. And it talked about how Oklahoma, and particularly Oklahoma City and Tulsa, are among the leaders in the U.S. in terms of growth not only of employment but high-wage jobs. Now what this says is it's not just about the extraction of energy, which has always been very important to Oklahoma, but it's our innovation, and it's also the manufacturing. Oklahoma is a leader in the world in the manufacturing of pumps, compressors, and other kinds of machinery that needed valves. And so it's not just about extracting the assets from the earth, but the way that we do it and the materials that we use.
In general, a good place to grow a business and to get a good job then.
Absolutely.
All right, Deidre, thank you so much for being here. Now, Deidre Myers is the Deputy Director at the Department of Commerce and head of the Office of Economic and Workforce Policy. Now, when we return, the economics of entertainment.